The Morning Drive podcast from Double T 97.3 is presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
I'm Mike Hebert, owner of Cantex Roofing and Construction. Every day is game day, and we'll get it right when it comes to your roofing, construction, windows, and mirrors. Call Cantex Roofing and Construction today. Together, we are one serving you.
Glad to be with you on a Monday. You're listening to The Morning Drive on Double T 97.3 and Double T 97.3.com. Watching on Fox 34 News Now. Chois Woodman, Jamie Lent, Jeff McGuire in with you this morning. We'll get to some of your thoughts. Talking bowl game, talking whatever you want to get into. Keep those coming in on the Yates Flooring Center chat line. Jamie, we were talking about the length of the game a little bit. Someone says, "Oh Lordy, it was a long game." I can't disagree with that. This isn't from this morning. It was the last text on the. I guess this was the Coors Light postgame show. Morton's accuracy and zip on the ball was the difference tonight.
Felt like he definitely had it early on. I thought the throw to Fungi for the touchdown really showed good arm strength, and
yeah,
I mean that thing was on a line. But I don't know. I just didn't think the offense looked great at all in the second half.
Yeah, I don't think anybody would say it. It looked good in the second half. It got very stagnant in the second half, and I don't know if Tech got conservative because you just didn't look the same. You didn't look like you're taking some of the shots you did in the first half,
and not as much Taj.
And you didn't run it as much. Yeah.
And when you in Cameron Valdez, it felt like got a lot of carries, not Taj.
But Taj did get hurt. I don't know if you noticed. He his right leg, something was bothering him. So, which stunk because it kept him kind of at 99 yards.
Right.
Does that bother you?
Oh, I really wanted him to get over it. So, I mean, I knew he was at that mark.
I'm pretty sure the coaching staff knows it at that point, too.
Yeah.
Someone's got to be in the ear and say, hey, he's at 99. If you want to get him one more carry. But they didn't. And you get him back next year. So
I really wanted.
I mean, they did try like 3 times the last drive.
You're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
I mean, it wasn't without effort that the attempts were there.
I was really hoping Valdez would get in the end zone, just like Fungi. So the two guys that hit the portal, but then said, "Hey, I want to still play for the team."
Yeah.
Yeah. I wish they would both ended with a score.
I wouldn't have minded that. Yeah. I'm very curious to see where both of those guys end up. I know Fungi's a West Texas guy, so he may still want to stay at home. I think that was his only catch of the night, if I remember correctly. But
I believe so.
It was a big one. Mm-hmm. And they are able to get the win. It is a busy week still for Tech football. I think the dead period starts today, so coaches can't go out. But you've got signing day on
Wednesday
of this week. That's crazy. You played a bowl game before signing day starts. That's a weird feeling, and I'm sure that
the whole signing day thing is just weird to me because it just feels like he used to be so much bigger.
Yeah, it was massive.
Yeah,
in February, I mean, people made a huge deal about it.
Yeah, and obviously, it's still the lifeblood of your program. There's just not as many switches. Those kind of things. There's not a lot of surprises. There's not a lot of drama that comes with it.
I think that's why they moved it to December for that reason.
Yeah, and then the most important guys that you're bringing in, that are going to help you in the immediate. When we all talk about, hey, I'll start rooting for the guys when they run out the tunnel or whatever, and this guy just committed to us. Okay, well, he's going to, red shirt for a year, and we'll see him in 2 years, whatever, that kind of stuff. Well, these guys are your guys that you're expecting to make an immediate impact. You talk about the receivers and the offensive linemen that you've got in the transfer portal. Mm-hmm. It's like everybody's more interested in that right now than they are the high school guys. Even though, man, you got to be doing your job with the high school guys, right? So it feels like it brings less excitement than it does, but I think everybody's smart enough to know it's still really important.
I think that's where hopefully Texas Tech will get a leg up on some of the competition in the new Big 12, is that you've been recruiting. You look at the recruiting rankings. The last couple of years, you're at the top of these teams, these current teams in the Big 12 when it comes to the high school recruiting. And you look at a lot of other schools, and you're same realm, and a lot of those have been focusing more on the transfer portal. So hopefully the base, the foundation you're building for that high school recruiting can help you have that leg up on some of those other teams within your league. And I don't know if it will or not, but it sure feels like you got a lot of really good young talent coming in. Question is, did you get enough in the portal? And you've got quite a few guys to bridge the gap for next year.
Mm-hmm.
So not sure on that. Y'all can keep chiming in on the Yates Flooring Center chat line. So we talked about the offense. We've talked about a little bit of the defense, Tim DeRuyter, and the adjustments made within that game. What about the atmosphere? The Independence Bowl. Was this your first or second trip too?
Second trip.
So you went to the one in 98?
I did.
I figured you did just because of location to East Texas and that sort of thing. How did that
I thought it was really cool yesterday driving back from Shreveport, just how many tech cars I saw, and then, went past the cheerleaders bus, went past the equipment bus, not bus, but equipment truck twice. And so it was, it's like this sea of red coming across East Texas towards West Texas.
That's great.
I thought that was awesome.
So fans, I don't like overshooting this, but was it a true 80% Red Raiders compared to Cal fans?
Oh wow. I don't think I would have gone 80%, but but I would have gone.
See, my view is the same as yours, but you just see the Texas Tech side over there, and it's the one that technically is Texas Tech.
Yeah, I definitely would go. I don't know. 70%. I don't know. Okay. It definitely felt like the majority were Tech fans. And it was interesting because the Tech fans were. I assume the Tech allotment was towards the outside, towards the end zones. Yeah. On their side, and the Bowl folks sold the middle section because all the Red Raider fans were from the 30 towards the goal line on both sides. Mm-hmm. we paid for the seats through Texas Tech, and so those were the big clumps. But it definitely looked pretty sparse on the Cal side.
Yeah, very very sparse.
Proximity, you understand that a little bit. Sure.
I think there's a care about football too
that's different.
It's different for the two programs.
Sure.
But yeah, I thought the atmosphere was that of a lower tier bowl game.
Yeah.
Obviously, you have, I think 30,000 was the
It wasn't like it was last year, which was a blast.
Which is so weird because you have the same conference record, right? Your two teams.
Yeah.
Are both 5-4 from last year and this year. Yet you're in the Independence Bowl versus the Texas Bowl, and obviously you had more teams in the league this year, so that it changes the standings up a little bit. But there was a much different atmosphere last year and more excitement, I think, within the Red Raider fan base.
Well, a season of you had overachieved compared to a season of you have underachieved.
Yeah, but I still thought that there was enough passion and enough Red Raiders there that it
definitely
made for a pretty good atmosphere. But
I was definitely proud of the Tech fan base.
Okay, so what happened with the fireworks show that went off way early? Did you happen to step outside for the fireworks show before the game? You may have been on air actually.
I was.
Did you hear it going off?
Yes.
This was one of the best fireworks shows I've ever seen. No kidding.
And it was not supposed to go off?
I guess it was supposed to go off because I asked some people that should have been in the know, and they said, oh, yeah. But it wasn't advertised at all. It wasn't, hey, make sure you show up 2.5 hours before the game. But we were wondering, did someone hit a button that they weren't supposed to hit a little early? Because this thing was amazing. It lasted 15 minutes long.
I remember saying to Clint, man, that fireworks show is getting after it.
And it was a really cool show, but it's sitting there. No one's in the stadium yet. It's right behind the stadium, and I'm still not sure someone didn't
Okay.
trip over the wire and set it off.
Was that the internet wire as well?
Probably.
Hmm.
Was that a problem?
Oh,
The internet
was
wire?
it a problem?
Well, that's not a problem. You don't need stinking internet. That's the morning drive on Double T 97.3.
The Morning Drive podcast from Double T 97.3 is presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
Happy Monday. Happy Christmas week. We're a week out. Let's call it Christmas week, right?
Yeah, I think you can.
We're 1 week away. So if you haven't bought your presents, then you should probably do that.
I wish these guys would come back to town.
Have you been?
When they were in town?
Yeah. Have you been?
Yeah.
Oh,
dude.
I think I've seen them twice, and
Awesome.
It's amazing.
It's one of
Love
the coolest things ever.
TSO. It is.
Yep.
It is a blast. Those shows are amazing. He's Jamie Lent. I'm Chois Woodman. My normal partner in the mornings, Jeff Haxton. You can check out the show 9 to noon on 100.7 Score. He said he gets mad at people that shop too early. They get all their shopping done too early. He's like, those people make me mad. Because I'm like talking about how I think we're done. This was almost a month ago. I'm like, yeah, I think we're about done with our Christmas shopping. We're close. And he's like, oh, your people make me mad.
Considering I'm just getting India dog treat that I've already purchased, I think I'm done shopping.
Either you're done shopping.
Do we want to dive into why it makes him mad?
Well, I don't know. He wants everybody to procrastinate. He says he goes every Christmas Eve.
I mean,
to Walmart, and like, I guess the wife takes care of the big stuff, but he goes and just loads up on stuff like Christmas Eve right before.
yeah, I would say that Jeff's not the most, I don't want to say unprepared, but he's definitely a procrastinator.
He is a procrastinator.
Okay.
There's no question.
There's the term wing it comes to mind, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Wing it is pretty good.
And so
good term.
ultimately, I guess he's mad at the rest of us because we just, it just shows him that he's procrastinating and that bugs him.
No, I think he really thinks everybody else should be doing it. He's like, y'all are, why are we doing this so early?
Well, if we all did it at the same time on Christmas Eve, wouldn't that make for a miserable shopping experience for him on Christmas Eve?
It would be just like, what's that one with Arnold? Oh, Jingle All the Way.
Yeah.
That one's. Yeah. Someone says that Trans-Siberian Orchestra is coming to Buddy Holly Hall next week.
Are they really?
I didn't know that.
I'm efforting that. I'm looking at their thing, and I might be buying tickets.
Have you been?
Haven't been.
Very much worth it.
Oh gosh, it's so cool.
Yeah, you go the pyro, the lights, the everything with it.
Just
music, obviously.
Out of town.
Yeah, it's a really cool show.
They can't be coming after Christmas. They need to come before.
They've come after Christmas before.
Yeah, I think they've done the week of like a few days after Christmas. It still works.
Yeah,
you can do Christmas.
I'd prefer it that way.
Most fireworks shows are done well after dark. Yeah.
Was it in dark at that time though?
It had just kind of hit dark, but it made for. I've seen some of the pictures. I think they put them out on social media of the players.
Of course they did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, of course, of the players, their entrance into the stadium, because that's when this is happening, and all the fireworks in the background.
That's awesome.
So it actually makes for amazing pictures.
That's pretty cool. Yeah.
But it just seemed like odd timing, and I guess that was when they meant to. Are they coming, Jeff?
Apparently, it's Mannheim Steamroller that's coming. Trans-Siberian is in Florida, and in Michigan, and in Florida, and in Michigan, and Ohio this week.
Okay, educate me. I've heard the name. Do they do a similar thing?
Similar.
So,
rock orchestra.
They're a rock orchestra like Trans-Siberian is.
Okay.
They don't quite put on the same. It doesn't snow indoors with them.
Yeah, I don't think the light show and all that comes quite with them.
But they're very good.
Them, though.
They are very good.
Okay.
Yeah. Agree with you, Choice. I'm happy the way McGuire is emphasizing high school recruiting over the portal, building his own depth. We don't want to flash in the pan like TCU. Flash in the pan year like TCU. Yeah, I think you're doing a good job of both. I'm not trying to say you're only high school because some of the receivers and some of the talent you've got in the last week in the portal should have people pretty excited.
Yeah, right now, I mean, in the way the world works of college football or pretty much college any sport, if you're not hitting the portal, you're not turning over every stone, right?
Right.
And so,
yeah, of course.
So, I think he's doing a great job doing both, and you're hoping that's going to turn into good things. Obviously, certain positions have been better than others in recent years, and so you want to get that offensive line shored up, and you feel like that's a hard one to do if you're trying to fix things in a short term with high school kids, and that's where you really need to find portal guys, because we know it's hard for young guys to come in and play offensive line, but you sure hope you're building depth with those guys behind the portal guys, and that those guys are getting some reps, and then they are when it's their time, whenever whether it's their second year, third year they're ready to go.
Yeah, no, I guess where you really need to make sure you have depth, because you look at it, obviously receiver, they're making some moves there, but that offensive line, you're minus Dennis Wilburn, Cole Spencer, who got to play in the bowl game after missing a lot with the broken foot, and then Rusty Stats, all three of those guys, and then Monroe Mills. So you're losing 4 starters off this team, and that's why you're seeing such a heavy emphasis. I think they've offered close to 40 guys in the portal, and 40 offensive linemen, I think, is what the offers that are out for Texas Tech, which is a large number. Then they've landed a handful. It's gonna be a
problem if they all accept, isn't it?
Well, I think I think it's a race. Hey, who wants to come to Texas Tech? Red Raider 2 Gun says, God forbid we have a flash in the pan year where we go to a national championship game. I think you got the guy's point, Red Raider 2 Guns.
Yeah.
But if you wanna be that way, go ahead. This we haven't talked about. Cowboys got a beatdown yesterday. Reminds me of those games against the Browns, both regular season and Eastern Conference playoff games of the late 1960s.
Oh, wow.
You've been around a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
That does not remind me of those games, but I don't remember them. It reminds me of,
the 3-5-11 seasons.
In the 60s?
No, in the early 2000s.
Well, what it reminded me of
2000s.
was, the Cowboys and who they are. Anytime they ever give you a glimmer of hope, they rip your heart out. And
that game was fugly.
It was about as ugly as I've seen in a while, and by far the ugliest game that you've seen from an offensive standpoint for the Cowboys. Really, both sides of the ball. Get your butt kicked up and down. Just a hangover. What do you even attribute that to? Go ahead, say the Bills are just the best team in football, and we can walk up.
To me, all week long, my hope as a Bills fan was that the Cowboys were riding high after the Eagles game. And that's kind of what. And Dallas has played so well of late. We also know they haven't been as good on the road, okay, as they have been at home.
Very much.
So my hope as a Bills fan is that exactly what you mentioned, that there'd be some sort of hangover from the Eagles game, and finally they'd have a bit of a stinker. It was more than a bit of a stinker.
Yeah.
And I also think that Buffalo is a better team than their record shows.
Yeah, and I think they're actually starting to play like it the last few weeks.
You just look at all their close losses. But, butt kicking. I don't think it was nearly as ugly as you guys are describing.
You don't think so?
No, I thought it was beautiful.
Oh.
I don't think it was as close as the score indicated.
I whiffed on that one badly. Like, really? What part of that game did you...
He enjoyed all of it, every single second of it.
Every single, except when the Cowboys scored a touchdown. That disappointed me.
CeeDee Lamb got one late. Yeah. God, that was bad. But fortunately, the Red Raiders still had me on a high.
Should have been worse. Buffalo should have had a couple picks they didn't get. Yeah. Should have had a touchdown that they dropped and turned to a field goal. Yeah.
A few more of your thoughts. We'll get to some of those this day in sports history next on Double T 97.3.
Your daily dose of sports and fun. This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
No, I knew this one.
Okay, my bad.
But I did recently watch the movie. I'll be hungry.
Did you watch Sound of Music last night?
You're looking at me weird, Jeff.
I had to think for a minute. I was like, this isn't in White Christmas, because that's the Christmas movie like my sister is obsessed about. So when
White Christmas is not a Christmas movie, but okay.
Did you watch Sound of Music?
Are you thinking of Holiday Inn?
No.
Is not the Christmas movie?
No,
There's a movie
no.
named White Christmas that you say is not a Christmas movie.
It is literally a movie about them just traveling around, and Bing Crosby and I don't even remember the other actor's name. It starts off, the first scene is at war. I guess set in the 40s, maybe. Anyway, but they're at war, and he sings White Christmas because it's Christmas at war. And then they come back home, and he saves his buddy at war.
That's nice of him.
Yeah, it was really nice. And then
The
his
war
buddy
you're
owes
speaking
him-
of is called World War II, by the way. Yeah.
That's what I said, in the 40s. I do realize that's when World War II was. Thank you. He saves his buddy, and then his buddy kind of holds it over him. Great friend. And makes them do shows together. They're both performers, and they have to do shows together. Before, this guy was a solo artist. Bing Crosby was a solo artist anyway. But it's all about the whole movie. They just go and perform places. The actual Christmas part is the very, very beginning, and doesn't really... White Christmas is not a Christmas movie. Die Hard is more of a Christmas movie than White Christmas. Okay. Anyway, Sound of Music, no? Was there... was it on TV or what?
It was on TV, yeah. I mean, it's like my mom is in town, and she loves the movie, and so does my wife and kids. And so we watched it. I think it started at 6. It just ended about 15 minutes ago.
Okay.
Yeah, that's one we watched last night.
Do you like it?
I'm fine with it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's how I am towards it.
I'm fine with it.
It's fine. But, yeah, it is Christmas week for all you out there. Merry Christmas week to you. Continue to pour in those thoughts on the Yates Flooring Center chat line. Central Texas Hank says it's Danny Kane, the other one, thank you. And yes, it is a Christmas movie. Someone else says that's Holiday Inn. No, Holiday Inn's similar, but it's not. I'm still sticking with it. Oh, someone is with you. That thought that was Silent Night, too.
It sounded like if Jeff...
The ooze of the beginning of Silent Night were definitely involved in said song.
Okay.
That is definitely Silent Night.
There's some similarities. I can pick up where you're getting it. I didn't think it initially, but yeah. I think Jamie likes...
I didn't think it because I knew it wasn't.
Well, because you put it in.
Because it's... I also know that version that Frank Sinatra does of I'll Be Home for Christmas. So I knew what to expect.
I think Jamie likes to hang out with older people. He was missing Chuck. And then someone else says, just found the female version of Chuck. Okay, so the Uber rider or Uber driver from Hades. He's not listening, I hope, because I told him when my show was, because he was so... curious. I mean, the guy had to have gotten in. I don't know. This was a 20-minute ride. This is me going to the golf course. So the golf course was up north of town that I went to on Thursday. Went and played, and I rode this Uber picked me up in downtown and takes me all the way out there. In the 20-minute ride, I mean, he had to have had 100,000 words. Just nonstop. Telling me life stories and how he is a millionaire, but he loves to do... I mean, the bragging was where it started. Just had to tell me how he's a millionaire. And you'd never know it by looking at me, but I just love doing this. And just, a guy bet me that $100,000 that I wouldn't be an Uber driver. Easiest $100,000 that I ever made. And look, I'm telling you,
that's
Jamie,
when you pick up your phone and call someone.
Would have jumped out of the car. I was close. If my clubs weren't in the back, I might have done it, but couldn't part with those. Just continual. And then he would first Uber driver I've ever seen get on their phone and like scroll through pictures while he's driving. He's had to show me the pictures of these famous people that he's picked up. Which he had one with Amy Grant, and there's...
Did he take a picture with you?
He actually did.
You're a radio star.
He's like, I'm in with a radio star. I'm like, no, you don't understand. There's like, my wife knows my name. Jamie does because he has to. Yeah, so he took a picture. He's like, my friends don't ever believe me. They think I'm full of it. And, oh my gosh. And then no kidding, he's the guy that picks us up to go to the casino late on Saturday night. But he didn't notice like me because I hopped in the back of the car with the car full of 6 people. So fortunately, he didn't talk my ear off too much. Oh my goodness. Anyone surprised that Woodman's Uber driver was also a millionaire? Of course.
Well, when you call up Millionaire Uber, it's a different company that the rest of us use. We just use Uber. Mm-hmm. Choice has an app for Millionaire Uber.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You didn't know that existed?
Yeah.
It's just Uber M. That's what they call it. Most people ride the Uber X because it's cheaper, but Uber M is.
Oh, Uber.
Let's make sure that millionaires pick you up.
Okay.
Woodman, you're really wrong. The whole ending is a Christmas show. They did a really terrible job hyping up this non-Christmas movie to be a Christmas movie. I'm telling you, I'm sticking to it. Except I almost never get to the end of it because I get kind of bored. White Christmas is okay, and I've watched it this Christmas season.
It does drag on a bit. I will concede with Choice that it does drag on a little bit. You could probably cut about 20 minutes out of that movie and no one would really notice.
That one, Singing in the Rain, is one that drags a little bit.
Now you're dead to me.
Okay,
that's how that works.
There we go.
I've never seen either one of them, so.
Do you like old movies?
Not really.
Okay, then I would abstain.
Like Karate Kid from the 80s, is that old enough for you?
That's getting old.
Okay.
But I don't think that would qualify in the same category. Raiders' dad says, we're a 6-6 football team. I'm not worried about losing anyone, line or otherwise. We got to have somebody left.
I guess I'm not as much worried about losing them. I'm just worried about next year's offensive line. So one leads to the other.
Sure.
But
and what you said, the chemistry, that part of it, you've got to mesh a whole new offensive line next year. Mm-hmm. Caleb Rogers is your one guy back. Ty Buchanan, I guess, is back too, who started in the game for you at left tackle since Monroe Mills hit the portal. But you're going to have to continue to hit the portal hard. And I think the anticipation is that they're going to get 2 or 3 more offensive linemen in addition to the ones that they've already got. But I don't know. Lindale Jeff said, this is going back to earlier with Hacks and his Christmas presents thing. I think Hacks doesn't like how Thanksgiving is bypassed. I became an early shopper during the lockdown. I would hit the store and hunt because my kids were going to have beef and milk. And then the supply chain, I shopped early because my kids were going to have toys. So I shop early now. Okay.
Makes sense.
Makes lots of sense. Juan asks, is Louisiana East Coast or Central Time Zone? Central, yeah. It's right there. Right on the other side. Shout out to the Going Band. They could be heard the whole game playing, yelling, or singing. Was Cal's band there, or do they even have one? Couldn't be heard if they were there. They were there, right?
Were they? I have no idea.
Actually, yeah, they were. I know for sure they were.
Okay.
There. They played a little bit before. They were much smaller than the Going Band, so I don't know if they sent their full band or not. But no, I could hear the Going Band, and they were active, and it was good. We're going to talk a little hoops after what we got next. Jamie Lent's question of the day here on the Double T 97.3 Morning Drive.
This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
Thrilled to be part of your Monday morning. You're listening to the Morning Drive on Double T 97.3 and Double T 97.3.com. Chois Woodman in for Chuck Heinz. Jeff McGuire across the way. Jamie Lent to my right. And Jamie will bring us a question in a moment.
Time now for Jamie's question of the day on Lubbock Sports Station, Double T 97.3.
Okay, this one is wide open. with the way you want to answer it.
Like Coy Aiken on that one post route that Barron threw the interception on. Did you see how open he was?
He was pretty open,
yes. Oh, my goodness. Okay. Yes.
I want you to tell me 2 things for next year's football season that you're nervous about and 2 things that you're excited about.
2 that I'm nervous about and 2 that I'm excited about. Okay. Number 1, we've already highlighted it this morning, but offensive line is my number 1 nervous spot. I'm anxious to see what they're able to put together. So that is still by far the biggest unknown. Number 2 nervous thing is secondary. So I don't know if this is what you're looking for with position groups, but that's kind of where my brain goes. Offensive line, secondary, you're losing a lot of seniors out of that secondary. Malik Dunlap, Rashad Williams, and maybe the most important this year, Dadrian Taylor-Dimerson, all will be gone from that secondary. So nervous about those 2 groups in particular. Most excited, I got to be honest, you've never had a 5-star around here, and maybe we're putting way too much hype on a true freshman, but Micah Hudson, I want to see it. I'm just super excited to see what he is, what the hype is all about. Seen tons of highlights up to this point, but very excited about that. And here's a very generic statement. I'm excited to see this team be better than they were this year. I think you underperformed. You were much better than your record showed this year, talent-wise. So I'm just excited that.
But you lose some of that talent.
You lose some of the talent, but I still think looking at your schedule, maybe that's where this is. I'm excited that you could be a top 5 team in the league next year. I don't think that's shooting super high either.
No.
Looking at the schedule and those sorts of things, I think you can. So.
All right, Jeffrey.
Things I am concerned about. Everything associated with the offense with the exception of Taj Brooks.
Okay.
And I mean everything associated with the offense that isn't Taj Brooks. He's the one true star I think you've got on offense that you know verifiable that he can do it in Big 12 play. He can do it against Division I talent. He can do it against whoever you want to line it up. He can get the job done. You've got incoming freshmen that can be exciting, but I don't trust freshmen as far as I can throw them. The best part about freshmen is they become sophomores. The second thing that I'm worried about for next year, and Choice kind of touched on this already, is your defensive backfield. I have faith that Tim DeRuyter has got some guys ready to go and that you're not going to have a huge drop-off, but you're losing an awful lot of leadership and snaps this year to graduation that you're going to have to find a way to replace. And I think you're okay, but I'm nervous because this is the Big 12 and we still like throwing the football around. Things I am excited for. Well, the reverse, Taj Brooks. Getting to see another year of him running between the tackles, running around the tackles, running through people, breaking tackles, all of the things that Taj Brooks does, that your key to your offense is going to be him next year. And I'm kind of excited for how the new Big 12 is going to look, like overall. You've got a bunch of new teams coming in. It feels like a wide open field that you may be able to take advantage of and really set in stone that you could be one of the 2 teams to beat year in and year out. You've got to play that way, but I'm excited to see how that goes.
I think that last one was a really good answer, and that's one definitely I'm excited about. I'm not going to use that as one of my 2, but I agree. I'm excited about, just like I was this year, about seeing the new teams, and I'm excited again about the more new teams coming in and what that will all look like, who we're going to end up liking and hating and all that good stuff. So I think that's a really good answer. Okay, I'm going to start with the things that I'm most excited about. Linebacking core. I'm really excited about your young linebackers. So that's first and foremost for me.
Okay.
The second part for me is just knowing what your identity is. Okay, it felt like it took a while this year to figure that out. Coach McGuire has said the same thing, and I think going into the season, you know what it is, and so I think you're going to play better early on than you did this year, knowing that hey, we can run the ball with Taj Brooks. Obviously, a new offensive line factors into that, but we know we got a stud back there in the backfield, and so we're going to try to rely on him. So with that being said, that's one of the things I'm excited about. One of the two things I'm nervous about, will you put together a game plan offensively that accentuates what you do well? Okay? I still felt like on Saturday night, there were times when we went away from the run game, and I don't understand why. Don't understand why. When we're having possessions where it's 3 passes and you've got Taj Brooks in the backfield, I don't get it. And you're running the ball with success, I don't get it. So we know the identity. Will we actually stick with it? Or will we outthink ourselves? So that's one of the things that concerns me. The other one, I mean, you guys touched on a couple of good ones. Offensive line, obviously, defensive backfield. Okay, I'm nervous about stopping the run. I just think maybe we've glossed over the fact that how good Hutchinson and Bradford have been for the Red Raiders. And to lose those two guys, I think it's going to be massive. And so I think, one of the things that we've really done well that has helped our defense is be able to stuff the run. And so I'm nervous about that.
Actually, We'll continue this coming up in just a little bit. After the boom, 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 it's the Morning Drive on Double T 97.3.
Your daily dose of sports and fun. This is the Morning Drive podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
Happy Monday, y'all. It's the Morning Drive on Double T 97.3 and Double T 97.3.com, the Double T 97.3 mobile app. And you can watch us on television, Fox 34 News Now. Always on our YouTube channel, Double T Sports Network. What you need to search there is we have all 12 hours of our local programming streaming consecutively 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. over there on the YouTube thing. Y'all keep hitting us up. Yates Flooring Center chat line wide open to you. React to the bowl game, the basketball game, Cowboys, transfer portal, whatever you want to get into. Pipe in on the Yates Flooring Center chat line before we get back to some of that reaction. My question for you is, do you walk away from the bowl game, Jamie, feeling like you've learned anything more from the team or feeling any different than you did going into it? Or is it just still it's still a 7-6 team? Obviously, you have a winning season.
I think I would agree with what you said earlier, in that you were 7-6 and very well could have been 9-4.
Yeah.
And does that make me feel better or worse? That's the question.
That is a good question.
Man. I don't know that it makes me feel better about what happened in 2023, but maybe it makes me feel better feeling like, okay, you're still a talented program. The ball just didn't bounce your way this year. But, man, you got to learn from some of the mistakes.
Uh-huh.
Okay, you got to learn from some of the mistakes, and I'm not just talking about the players here. Okay, I mean you got to be better. It shouldn't take that long to figure out what you do well. Okay, it shouldn't take you that long to say, see what's working and stick with it. Okay, there are still times where. And I know some Raider fans love the fourth down stuff, and some absolutely hate all of it. I'm pretty much in the middle. I feel like
I think you're rare with that. I think most people are very much on one side or the other.
I feel like about 80% of the time, I agree with. I'm good with going for it when we're going for it. I will tell you, the other night, up by 17 in a 4th and 4 at midfield, I was not.
Yeah, okay. I was curious. I'm like, does the book really tell you to go for it there?
Well, I mean, see, that's where, like, I don't care about the book. You're up 17. Don't give them a short field. Like, you scoring the touchdown, if you do, and I don't know, I think we missed the field goal on that drive, or maybe we made the field goal on that drive.
No, I think that was the one you missed.
Okay.
Which, by the way,
the play call, I will say the play call on 4th down was terrific because Xavier White was wide open. Either the play call was terrific or Cal just fell apart.
Oh, yeah.
Because he was wide open. So it almost felt like, okay, we have this play that we are really, really confident in, okay? And so that's why we're going to use it on a 4th down situation. I mean, whatever it was, I think everything was going back to the left, and then Xavier came across the field against the grain. He was wide open. There was nobody near him for Cal. I felt like the win of getting that 1st down just wasn't that great at that point, but the loss gives them hope. It gives them a chance. So I didn't love that one. But again, like 80% of the time, I think I agree with Coach McGuire. So I don't know. I just felt like we didn't learn from our mistakes on the offensive side of the ball enough, and that's something I feel like needs to be better. And so hopefully, another year of the system for the players, another year with the coaches knowing their players and being able to sit back. Coach McGuire has used the term before, like self-evaluate. He's talked about how they did that partway through the season, and that's when they decided, hey, we run the football well. Let's keep running the football with Taj. Hopefully you can figure those things out a little bit quicker. So, I think I come away. I'll be honest with you, Choice. I feel better about the 2024 season this week than I did last week.
Okay.
It's not necessarily about the winning, the beating of Cal. It's about what you got in the portal last week as far as, and
that's fair.
They're guys that I feel like immediate impact guys that are in big-time need positions that I really think are going to help you out. So I was super proud the other night of the way it looked like, again, you're going to get blown out. And we all wonder about these bowl games, right? Where, like, who's going to be excited to play? And as I like to say, they're all excited when they walk out onto the field, okay? They're all excited. You can't tell who's excited to be there or not until they get punched in the face. And how do they bounce back? How do they bounce back?
Almost all the time, that's true.
Yeah, okay. How do they bounce back after something goes wrong?
Yeah.
Okay? And for every Red Raider fan out there, you fumble on the opening kickoff, you give up a touchdown, I don't remember if it was 3 and out or whatever.
It was a quick first drive,
you quick first drive. They're marching down the field making it look easy. Okay? Yeah. And it's about to be 14-0. I don't know how many of you Red Raider fans are like, we got this. We're going to come back. Okay? It did not look like you had any hope. Okay? And so, to me, Tim DeRuyter, his defense completely turned it around. Credit him a ton. Okay? Joey McGuire having his guys ready and having his guys truly motivated where it's not, hey, we're happy to be here until something goes wrong. They kept battling. Okay?
Yeah.
And so, I'm proud of him for that and was super happy. Okay, so I think there's a lot of good there that shows that this team wanted to keep playing hard, and they maybe had a bad taste in their mouth from the Texas game. They surely should have.
Yeah.
Okay,
I think they did.
That's kind of gotten. I think I'd have been pretty down at 6-7 about the season.
I would have too.
Yeah, and I'm not like writing home to mom over 7-6, but I feel a lot better.
It changes the perception.
Yeah.
It changes it a lot. And like I did say, I think you outmatched Cal in terms of what you put on the field on Saturday. I think you were the better football team fairly clearly. I mean, outside of the first
20
quarter,
points, yeah.
I think you were the better football team, and it did show. Hey, Cal's a 6-6 football team. Glad to be there at 6-6. but you were a 6-6 team that easily could have been 9-3 this year if you had some breaks, if you played better in certain games. And that does give me some hope for next year, but you got to convert that into 9 wins instead of 6.
This has been the Morning Drive Podcast, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction. Check out our library of Double T 97.3 podcasts at doublet97.3.com.